I'm going to show you, or I'll try to show you, how to make a hexagon sort of joined together to make a sort of backdrop, sort of honeycomb shape for your cards. So that's the kind of thing we're aiming for. So we're going to start off by bringing on the basic shape, and this time we're going to bring on a hexagon, and we're going to make it so that it's a standard size. So we'll make it that width 4, and oh sorry, I didn't want to do that. I want to maintain the aspect ratio whilst I'm doing this. So we'll make it 4.5. Say OK, and we'll carry on from there. So whilst that shape's selected, now I strongly suggest you start off with it a wider border than you want in the end, so that when we shrink it down later, it's going to still be quite a significant border that you can see. So I'm going to make it a 0.5 inward spacing using the offset tool, which is in the edit menu, which is the second icon down on this side. Come down the offset, click in here to set the spacing from one line to the next. We want it to go inwards, and we're going to say OK. In fact, we can make that bevel because it's going to be angled, and say OK. Next, we're going to select both shapes, and in the edit menu we're going to process the overlap and subtract. And what you've actually done there is essentially you have punched that shape out, and just to show you what I mean, I'll stick some colour in, and that's where we are. If you don't do that step, removing that centre, you will not be able to weld your shapes together. So now my option for my duplicate I use on my keyboard is Control and D, which is what Command and D, which is what I've set my computer to be. Now you can right click when it's selected and say duplicate, or you can go on layer and a duplicate at the top. So we're going to need some duplicates first of all, so I'm just going to make sure we've got a few on there, and we're going to start building our shape. Now what we're going to be doing is bringing one up and overlapping it with this one in such a way, and I'm going to just remove the colour now so that I can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to select them all, and I'm going to make all of the colours. Just going to edit and layer and group them, and then I should be able to lower the opacity down. So let's try and do this. And so what I'm going to do, just to save time, and now that I've got the side, oh, not entirely that, so I'm just going to edit and ungroup. So now that I've shown you what they look like in colour, because it's quicker to just delete them and do the duplicates again than mess around. So D. So we just need a few. We might not use them all, but we're going to set off with a few, and then we know we've got plenty to be working with. So we're going to start at the top, and it's just going to be a random shape. It's geometric, but it's an irregular geometric shape, if you will. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so you can see what I'm doing here. So what I'm doing is positioning one of the hexagons that we've created over the other one so that it's overlapping like so. Once you've done that, you can select both if you like. We'll just go on to the edit menu and weld. So that's welded our first two together. So I'm going to zoom fit to matte, and that's where we're at. So now I'm going to have another one here. And again, it's easier if you do this whilst you're zoomed in, because you can see what you're doing better. And again, I want to position it so that this line here, not that one, I'll show you, this one here and this one is lining up with this one, and is also in the middle. And I'm only doing it by eye, but you can get a really good idea if it's in the right place. And you can fine tune your move using your keys on your keyboard. So again, we're going to select both shapes and weld, like so. And we'll zoom fit to matte, and then we can see where we're up to now. Now I'm going to add another one, and I think I'm going to put it here. So we're going to overlap it this time with two hexagons. So again, I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to move the shape up and across until everything is lined up as we'd like it to be. Oops, let's display fit to mat. Now we can select both of our shapes and weld. And I think we'll have another one here. And again, I'm going to zoom in. And all this like geometric at the minute seems to be very, very fashionable in the card making circles, but it could also be used, if you did them big enough, as a frame for in a scrapbook. Oh, hang on, we've got something a little bit awry there. So we just need to move that a little bit and see if we got it now. So there we are. So now we've got that one. And display fit to mat. Now what I can do at this stage is maintain aspect ratio, shrink it down a little bit, and that I can copy it, and I can rotate it by 90, and I can find a place where I'd like it to join to this shape. 45, let's go back 45. See how we are now. So I want to join this shape to this shape, and at the minute it don't want me to do that with it in that orientation. So I need it to be rotated. Let's do the rotation and then you can see where we're up to. So I'm just going to edit undo, and we can add that one there. So again, oops, you can use your, actually what we should have done, never mind, we'll carry on. So we'll move that into position, because you can get the idea, because you could have carried on building your shapes as they were. So I'm just moving this one so that it's lined up nicely with the two lines, selecting both and weld. So now we've got a geometric shape that we can shrink down a little bit, and I'm going to rotate it 90, and that's what we've got. So however you decide to set them up will determine the shape of yours. This is going to be different than that one, but you can see how it's working. So if I just put some colour in that now, you can see that now we've got a hexagon shape built up. If you want, you can make a matting layer for it by creating an offset, and we want to go just a small offset. We want it to go outward, and say OK. So that's created an offset, and if we give that some colour, it'll be on top, but we can send it behind. And what we can do is, we'll just make it a bit lighter, and then what we can do is if you don't want that little bit showing all the way around your shape, what you can do is, whilst you've got that one selected, create an offset and go inward, make it a little bit bigger of an inward offset, say OK. And now if we move this one and this one, if we place that one on top of that one, so everything's lining up. Okay, let's just manoeuvre this one a little bit so we're lined up. And currently I think that one's on top, so let's put some colour in it. So if we can now line that up with our shape before we send it behind. Oops. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of a border going inwards rather than outwards, and if we arrange and send the pink layer to the back, say OK. Now we've got a matting layer for that shape. If we bring that on, and obviously you can do loads with this, you can cut them out different colours, and you could paper piece them in different colours, etc. Now if you wanted to add a 4-stitch line, again we could create an offset, a a small offset, and I want it to go inward. I just want to get that option, inward, both, and then say OK. Now you can see, hopefully, that that's actually produced a, make that a drawing line. So now if I zoom in, you'll see what that's done. It's put a 4 stitched edge, and if you think that that's a little bit too far in, you could undo, and you could click on the shape again. I know you'll be able to see this happening as it happens now. You can go on the offset. We're going on offset, we want it inside and outside. Take it down to the minimum spacing, OK, and then click on that one, make it a perforating line, not that one, this one, and also a drawing line. So now you can see that we've got that matting layer. I've lost my matting layer now, never mind. So there's the shape, and if we zoom in a little, we can see that now we've got a matting layer for that. So I'll just quickly create another layer for the, actually I think it might still be underneath. Let's just see what we've got in layers. Maybe not. So we'll just create a matting layer for it. Offset, we're going to go inward by 0.4. We just want the outer edge. And if it won't let you go on outward, then it will. Then come back to inward, because it's a bit of a glitch in the program, I think. Say OK. That will have put an offset inward. We need to make it, what the one we've just made, we need to make it a solid line. Not that one. That needs to stay a perforating line. It's just trying to find the one where we've just created. Let's have a look at the layers. That's the one. Let's make that a solid line. It's actually done both again. I don't want that one. So again, we're going to undo that one. Go back onto the layers. For some reason, I'm selecting the wrong layer. So let's just have a look at this. That's the shape, that might be the layer. So let's see if it's that one. It's difficult to tell. As it just, let's undo. Go back to that. Let's make sure we've got the shape selected. Create the offset, 0.4 inward, say OK. For some reason it seems to be, oh no, it's there. Edit, undo. So we need to get that one. We're going to make that as, it's done it inside and outside again, hasn't it? Edit, undo. So we're just going to make that one come out of the way for a second. I'll create my offset inward, and that's why it's doing it. I don't want it, I want it to be clicked off, so nothing in there, and I want to come inward. OK. Done it at both sides again. It seems to be having a bit of a hissy fit. Create an offset of the shape, outward only. Hang on, I know what I'm doing. I'm having a brainstorm here. That does want to be ticked, because we do just want it to do the outer edge. So we do want it to be inward, and we do want it to be 0.04. Say OK. At least you can see that sometimes that's still not right. I'm going to just display zoom fit to max. What I've found sometimes, if this happens, I'm going to just put that back into position, line it up so that it's dead on top of the other, and we're going to click on the shape. We're going to create an offset. We want it to be inward. We'll come outward and see if that helps. Around the outer shape, say OK. Hopefully that's just created an outer offset, which it has. Thank goodness for that. I think I was losing my mind. And now we can just go back inwards again, just to make it slightly smaller so it's not hanging over. So while it's selected, we'll go on offset and we'll go 8, and this time inward, and say OK. Now what we should have when we delete that one, oops, is if we go, we've got that's our matting layer. That's the matting layer that we made. This is the one that is bigger, so this is the one now that is smaller, that should fit underneath this one. So if we give that one some colour now, and position, so that it's a matting layer on the screen. Obviously you're going to do this on paper anyway. Layer, arrange, centre back. So now we've got our matting layer, our 4 stitched hexagons and a geometric shape. So if we zoom in a little, you can see that. So we've got that, that's the parts of our file. So we've got the matting layer underneath, which is turquoise, which is just a solid piece, and we've also got the frames joined together in the hexagon. So there's your 4 stitched. Now what I would suggest doing before, we don't want to select that one, we want the matting layer from behind, so that's that one, and I'm just going to hide that for a second, select both of those, and I'm going to group them. Okay, that means now I can move that one without upsetting the 4 stitch line. Now if we bring that one back visibility, we can see that we've got our matting layer and our 4 stitch hexagons, and if we display fit to mat and then we undo to get it lined up, that's the file complete. So that's how you create a geometric shape that, like I say, now we've got it into a size that we can actually select everything and we can group it temporarily. We can make it bigger if you were wanting to use it for a scrapbook page or something similar, or much smaller so that it can go on a 5x7 card. And if we just go back onto the sizing so we can see what size it is and click on, currently that's almost 6x6.5. Remember, you can go inwards, but that will squash your rectangle, your hexagons even. You can make it longer and narrower, so you've got lots of options. So I'm just going to undo that and go back to where we were, which is there, and that's the file that I'm going to save. But remember, that's easily manipulated in your workspace if you download it from my blog at beverleigh10.blogspot for free. Or alternatively, have a go at making your own files. I'm sure you'll have fun. Anyway, I hope you've liked the video and you found it useful. If you have, please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.